Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Gallego, and today we will discuss professional development for beginners. And the goal by the end of this presentation is so that you will be able to know how to make a resume and the qualities of a good resume, how to create your business card, and how to mesh those together to create a great LinkedIn profile for your own professional development. Great. So let's start. So, as I previously mentioned, this course will cover basic tips to create and improve your resume, a guide on how to make effective business cards, as you can see on the left here, and the resume on the right. And lastly, a guide to create an attractive LinkedIn profile and why having a LinkedIn professional social media profile is important this year. Well, we'll tell you about it. Now, section one, resume. So, what is a resume, right? On the right, you could see that it's a document created and used by a person to present their background, skills, and accomplishments. So, on our left, we have a typical resume, a sample, as you can see. And for simplicity's sake, let's divide the resume into the head, the chest, the body, and the feet. And remember, these are not absolute rules, but a guide to help you understand and aid your comprehension as we break down the resume into its respective components and show how to improve bit by bit to make it great. Okay, so starting off with the resume, let's say, Joseph, I don't have a resume. Where do I start? Well, right here. Pick a color that represents yourself. Write down all your relevant experiences, write down your skills, write down your hobbies, and select a professional headshot. You may want your peers or your parents to verify that it makes you look pogi or maganda. But be sure to avoid the following at the end stages of the resume. Try to keep it one page, try to keep non relevant information out of there, non professional information, and outdated information. Okay? Great. Let's move on to our first activity. On a blank piece of paper or on Microsoft Word, just simply write down all the items listed on where to start, all your skills, accomplishments. Okay. So pause the video now in activity one and write it down. Okay, great. Finished. We're going to move to our next slide. Starting off with your resume. Assuming you did activity number one, your resume will probably look similar to this resume displayed on the slide. This is a sample resume that my brother donated, and we're going to use that as an example to dissect it, okay? So we're going to dissect it to the head, the chest, the body, and the feet. And for each section, we're going to transform, and I'm going to walk you step by step on how we transform this resume into a refined quality resume you will produce at the end of this section. But before that, I just wanted to go through the basic structure of the resume, okay? The head is who you are. It should include your name, your contact, and objective. The chest, we stick it out because we are proud of ourselves. Thus, where you place your education and accomplishment. And your body, which I don't know about you, but is the largest part of my physical self, contains our life experiences that shape who we are and the content of most of what we say. And lastly, our feet allows us to stand up and is the foundations we have to set our skills, interests, hobbies, and passion. Okay? So let's look at the head of the resume. Remember, the head is who we are, our contact information, our identity. Look at our before and look at what we did after. Quite a big difference, right? But what exactly did we do? So let's break that out in the next slide. Okay? What we did was we made our name bigger. Why? You could see that a bigger name shows more confidence. It's more pleasant to the eyes of the reviewer. It should be the head in the header of the document, meaning the uppermost. And at the same time, we made use of all this empty white space and we reduced it by increasing the font and by aligning the address, the contact information to one simple, clean, crisp line divided by a nice object. Now, how do I make use of space? On Microsoft Word, you can go to the layout and you can just make margins narrow. And the clear instructions are highlighted here on the right-hand side of this presentation. Moving on, what else did we do? Well, we also divided each section by adding a line. I'll call these lines dividers moving on for the rest of the presentation. And it's very simple. All you need to do in Microsoft Word or even Excel is to click Insert at the upper left of the screen and click Shapes and simply select a line, make it thick, make it black, and position itself between significant portions. Now, the second thing we did was we changed the objective. Previously, it's obtain a possession that will utilize my blah, blah, blah skills. Instead, to obtain, you want to use acquire, you want to use apply, to utilize your skills. You want to showcase yourself. So just adjusting the screen and looking at this, it's instead of to obtain a position, we say we apply my leadership experience to apply in the dynamic work environment to achieve our organizational objectives. Instead of stating this is what I want, you are essentially stating this is what I can do. This is my experience, and this is how I'll be a contribution to your company and why you should select me compared to the hundreds of candidates applying. Okay? Feel free to pause anytime on the slides and to see the changes. We have all the time in the world before you make your own resume. Okay? Next section is the chest, what we are proud of. We could see this before, which is a bullet point, and the education, and after. Like our similar experience, we added a line and we utilized spacing. Again, layout, margins, narrow. But you can see we reorganized how we presented the information. So I clearly listed it out here. Place your education first because that normally follows your objective. So objective, contact, objective, then education. Because that's what we are proud of. Place a line and then utilize space. Bold your highest achievements. Utilize bullet points to list multiple awards. If multiple awards are of the same leadership category or certification category, you can list that and group that together and list bullet points as we've done here. Okay? Now let's move on. We can see before and after of our body. Our body is the experience. You could see this sample had a lot of experiences and worked in a lot of places. Sometimes that may not be a good sign because it could signal, hey, to my employer, hey, I transferred here and here. They probably will not stay in our business and our company too long, right? That's why I wanted to really focus on 3 relevant key aspects of this candidate. And you can see the transformation. But our next few slides will focus on how to properly structure from here on the left to here on the right. So let's break that down, right? What did we do? We focused on most recent experience. We aligned the empty space, right? And then we added small spaces in between the job title. I'm talking about this where my mouse is, this and this, okay? And we reorganized the bullet points to appear more dynamic. Rather to say obtain or provide, we used more dynamic terms like organize, facilitate, participate, train, collaborate. We'll get into more of that in the next few sections. So pause on this slide because this will break down the components of a great body, okay? So every bullet point in the work experience will have A, B, C, and D. Then your title, the location, the duration, and pretty much the institution, okay? So feel free to pause and integrate this into your own resume. But once you have that down, the next big obstacle in this section are the bullet points, right? How do I frame my bullet points? Well, here's a quick bullet point guide that you should pause the video and quickly read through. For the sake of time, I will continue, okay? So here's an additional tip. How do I phrase my bullet points? Well, think of what you've done in your activities, whether a club member, a participant, a member on the sports team, a member on a school club, or part of the Supreme Student Council. Try to think, was it in leadership? Did what I do was more in research, assistance, creation? Group it into those, and we'll explore examples in our next slides, okay? What if I did something in leadership? Well, you have all these great words to start off. And let me give you an example. I administered a budget of X pesos to achieve goals and sustainability objective, right? I led sorry, I led the group of 5 executive members to accomplish tasks. I coordinated with different clubs to host this kind of event that had over 200 participants, right? There's so many ways you can go, but the main point is for every bullet point, you always want to start with a dynamic word. And conveniently, a list of all the relevant dynamic words or most dynamic words are listed right in front of you to utilize at your expense. The same with improvement. Improve campus development initiatives to promote safety and wellness, right? Um, Augment the financial statements to make it more transparent to stakeholders. Extend our program's outreach beyond members of the school community to the greater community of Cabanatuan City. There's so many things you could do, right? Creation, here are a few examples. Marketing, represent over 150 students. If you are a member of a club and made a speech or visited a location, you could say you represented that organization to achieve XYZ goals. Assistance, here are a few keywords. And research. Feel free to skim through the slides, to backtrack. Just spend a lot of time saying, how can I best phrase what I did into my resume to design effective bullet points? Okay? And lastly, the fee, other skills, hobbies, and professional interests. Remember before, there was nothing, that's why I put a sad face. But if you properly listen to our layout and making effective use of space, you will have a lot of empty space at the bottom to work with. So I transformed this empty, sad face into an area where I can exhibit who I am as a person, to add a personal touch to whoever is reading your resume. And thus, I said that this individual is competitive, how they won multiple gold medals and participated in many sports, their interpersonal skills, how they work well with teams, and they're familiar with teaching the elderly or teaching peers their age, and their well rounded ability in mixed martial arts. And lastly, a footer. Okay? So these little things are essentially what I just covered. Feel free to pause the video and skim through. Okay. So after, what exactly did we do? We added this footer right at the bottom. Remember the color you chose? I simply matched that by adding a footer. And the specific instructions on how to add a footer such as this is listed right here in the PowerPoint. So I won't get into it with too much detail. You may also want to explore different color schemes. And at the same time, if you fill the text box with this color, you may want to explore having the text being white. Okay? And this, although its personal qualities, can be flexible. You can add your passion in chess. You can add different professional activities you feel may be relevant and of interest to the intended audience of your resume. Okay? Now, putting everything we learned from the head to the chest to the body and to the feet, you can immediately see the transformation from this old resume to our new refined resumes, making use of the the narrow margins, the breaks, and the clear structure to create a great foundation, a magnificent transformation. And this is the goal, the bare minimum that I entrust for the students to create with their own resumes. Okay? But let's say I don't want to stick to this traditional resume form. What can I do? Well, I highly recommend utilizing this website, canva.com, and simply go to the available templates you can have access to. Okay? And what templates can I have access to? Simple. Here are some examples. You can change the photo, you can edit the information, and add your own bullet points. So instead of worrying about the layout and use of space, you can simply replace it with your own information. Wonderful, right? All in Canva, and it's a free service. And all you need is an email so you can download any resume template and cater it to your own to add that personal touch. Great. And now, just to wrap everything up, this concludes our resume section. So do not forget, start by listing all your experiences in a Word document. Color scheme is important. A header, footer, and dividers improve aesthetics and organization. Utilizing words and resources abundant in this presentation is key to really shaping your experience and making that memorable to your reader. And don't forget to spell check. Nothing shouts disorganized and clumsy than a misspelled word on your resume. And if you're stuck on ideas on how to format and present yourself, always go to Canva for some good ideas. Even if you don't utilize the free templates, you can use the ideas other people have done and uploaded to your advantage to get great ideas. Great? Good. Now we're moving on to our business card section. You can see across the basics of building your own business cards and three rough samples of business cards I designed on a whim that I wanted to share. Okay. But where do I start? How did I start building each of these business cards? Well, you first start out with your initials, Joseph Gallego, JG. Okay. So start by writing on a piece of paper or on Microsoft Word your initials several times. Okay. And keep in mind when you draw or when you select a font, a curve, smooth motion, such as this one, is indicative of creativity, problem solving, and outside the box thinking. But sharp and straight represents punctual, organized, responsible. Now play around with this. And when I did it, following the arrow marks, you could see my initials evolve from this simple JG onto this black and white JG that I integrated into this business card, where the J represents my creativity, my punctuality being sharp, and the G being curved represents my creativity. All right. So simply for a first activity, second activity, to write down on a piece of paper, utilize different fonts, and find the perfect set of initials and combination of fonts that matches who you are, and mix that with the color scheme, and there you go. You have your basic initials to put not just on your business card, but also onto your resume. Let's say you don't like your photo, imagine using this JG on the upper left or upper right to add a little flair onto your resume as well. Okay? So after activity two, pause the video, focus on activity two, and once you're done, proceed with the rest of the presentation. Great. So how do I decide what color suits me? Here's a little color symbolism chart that I'm not going to spend too much time on due to time constraints, right? So pick a color that matches who you are and what you are trying to convey with your skill set, right? And the goal of a color scheme is to match and reinforce to the reader a positive impression you leave on others. Okay. And I recommend whatever color you pick here that you use on your business card, that you also use at the footer of your resume. So it all interconnects together. Okay. Now, a basic checklist I've provided here in the next slide, right? So a business card can be pretty much anything you envision. Okay, here are some examples of some minimum requirements: your name, your logo, your contact. Sometimes I've seen business cards with just those three. I've seen business cards with more than that, and I've seen business cards with less than this, but it's up to you. And additional information and elements are optional right here for you to choose. Okay. The front side, here are some examples. Remember, less can be more. Choose your design scheme, include your name, your logo, and normally a title, copyright and proofreading, digital marketing specialist, aspiring teacher, student leader, advocate for change, environmentalist, right? Examples are on the right. Okay. And some additional titles you can use when you create your own business card are right here, right? Media specialist, community service leader, or you can add a combination of your skills plus services. For instance, I'm accounting and I'm an accounting graduate. Okay, accounting services. I'm a criminology a graduate, criminology services, right? Any combination of your skills. You can add services and put that underneath in your business card title if you choose so. Okay. On the back side, we can be a little bit more elaborate, but still remember that less is more. Conveys your color and design scheme, as you can see in these examples. Normally includes your name, your logo, and your title. And remember, appear neat, presentable, and professional, as with the examples on our right. Great if you include your email. Great if you include your email, your phone number, and even better if you can include a professional website like your future LinkedIn account that we will cover later on in the presentation. Okay? And how do I create my own business card? Well, Canva also has a free business card template. So if you go on canva.com/templates, all you need to do is click business cards and you'll be given a wide array of business cards to select, change color, add your name, add your logo, and create your own flair. And that's how you can start. Okay? So that said, your third activity is to go on canva.com, select the template that fits your needs, and simply tailor that template by adding your details, your logo, molding the colors, experimenting with different fonts to create your own business card. And you can download that for free, all on Canva. Great. So pause the video, focus on activity 3, and then we'll proceed to our final topic, which is the LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn profile. Think of Facebook, but all everything else instead of friends is all professional information and career oriented. Fun fact, you can also apply to jobs on LinkedIn profile, and many companies and recruiters look at LinkedIn profile for candidates that they can refer to major corporations like Microsoft, Facebook, Deloitte, Ernst& and Young, or national academies. Okay? So why is it important? Well, one, it's easy to create. All you need to create a LinkedIn profile is an email address, and it's essential in our digital age. And it's also a way for job recruiters to find you. The better your LinkedIn profile is, the more people will view your profile, and the more visible you will be for recruiters that will help find you a job. Okay? It's an online database that tracks and stores your achievements. LinkedIn will ask, where did you go to school? Oh, you went to school here. Here are some alumni. Here's where the alumni works. Oh, you want to work here and you have an alumni that works there. You want to message and reach out to them. LinkedIn makes that easy for you. It also tracks all your interests, your hobbies, and if you display honor courses there or academic papers there, it will store that for you. So you, in case something happens to your computer or your hard drive, this is an online backup. All right. You can expand your network to teachers, alumni, and colleagues to stay in touch for future generations. And by the way, 77% of recruiters rely on LinkedIn to scout jobs for available positions in their company. So keep that in mind. Now, steps to a great LinkedIn profile. Have a good profile photo, have a beautiful background photo, establish an attractive headline, graduating student, marketing graduate, sales intern or equivalent, relevant to what your future goal is. Create an about me section. Not necessarily too professional, but add a little bit about your flair, like my leadership philosophy is that I lead through example. Feel free to look at existing LinkedIn profiles to get ideas as well. Register your education and follow the institution on LinkedIn. List your awards, achievements you're proud of. List your experience, upload media. Let's say I created a council, student council manual, or a resume, or a brochure. I can upload it and integrate as part of my profile so people can see the skills I have in different avenues. It's a great way to show off the tangible assignments you have done in school and in club activities and even outside in volunteer activities to potential employers. Okay? And best of all, with a good LinkedIn profile, you can customize your URL. Instead of linkedin.com/XYZ1234, you could customize it and say linkedin.com/Joseph Gallego 4142, right? And you can include that into your business card and onto your resume on how all the pieces stick together. By the way, feel free to even include your entire resume as a saved file or as bullet points in your LinkedIn profile. They all interconnect. So if you're worried about content, look at the resume you did and feel free to leverage that for your experience. Okay? And now, on to our final activity is creating your own LinkedIn profile. Simply follow the link, enter your email address, and create the password. And then it will guide you to a series of questions on setting up your own LinkedIn profile. So take your time. Once your profile is done, you may easily download a PDF version of your profile, show it to your peers, and to have it reviewed by your course. So, as we're coming to an end, reflect on the activities we've done. You've listed all your experiences and accomplishments in a Word document that you've shaped into your resume. You've created your own business card, and you've created your own professional online profile, or at least equipped with the tools to do all three. The next step is to save those files, improve upon it year after year. As you grow, so will these files and documents that will reflect your growth, mirror your growth. And lastly, which should be a graded assignment, is to have it be reviewed by your peers and by your guidance counselor or professor. Okay? And if there are any questions left after this presentation, or let's say you tried the steps but you feel like your resume is still lacking something, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, as I'm more than willing to volunteer my time to help personally improve your resume, to help improve your chances of employment and building yourself into a professional societal contributing individual. That said, my presentation is over. Thank you very much for your time, and maraming salamat.